Hello everyone. Now today we are going to talk on the gross anatomy of liver. So the liver is one of the largest gland and it consists of both exocrine as well as the endocrine part. The exocrine part of the liver which secretes the bile and the endocrine part of it which secretes the plasma protein as well as the glucose and the heparin. So it is a wedge shaped gland and it is situated in the right hypochondrium, the epigastrium as well as the left hypochondrium. Approximately in male it weighs about 1.4 kg and to 1.8 kg, whereas in female it is approximately 1.2 kg to 1.4 kg. At birth it weighs about 150 gram. The factor which keeps this liver in the position is one is the hepatic veins which are draining into the portal vein, and second the intra-abdominal pressure, and third it is the ligaments which are attached to the liver. The liver is highly vascular and it is soft to touch and solid organ and is friable to touch. And if you look at the anatomical position of the liver, now how to hold in an anatomical position of the liver you can see at the posterior surface of the liver, you can see this is the opening of inferior vena cava. In the posterior surface you have inferior vena cava, so just insert a thumb in the inferior vena cava and keep your other fingers on the inferior borders of the liver. So this is the anatomical position of the liver. Now the liver has 5 surfaces which is broadly it is divided as the parietal surface as well as a visceral surface. Now the parietal surface of the liver, here you can see this is the superior surface of the liver and this is the anterior surface, posterior surface of the liver, and this is the inferior surface of the liver. What are the borders? The borders of the liver, this is the inferior border of the liver, and here you can see this is a posterior superior border and this is a posterior inferior border. Now the superior surface, this is the superior surface of the liver which is related to the diaphragm and the base of the lung and also the pleural sac. It is also covered with the peritoneum except over the cardiac impression. So next is the right lateral surface. The right lateral surface of the liver, it is related to 7th to 11th rib and it is also related to the costodiaphragmatic recess at the level of 9th costal cartilage. The anterior surface of the liver, now this is the anterior surface of the liver. The anterior surface of the liver, it has got right and the left lobe. So the right lobe of and the left lobe of the liver which is divided by the falciform ligament. The right, it's also related to the right costal margin and it's related to the 6th to 10th rib, and also lower part of the right lung and the pleura in the right side as well as in the left side. It is related to the left costal margin and 7th to 8th left costal cartilage. Now liver, if I take it in an anatomical position, this is the posterior surface of the liver. Now the posterior surface of the liver, here you can see this is the bare area of the liver and this is a groove for the inferior vena cava and the caudate lobe, and this is the groove for the ligamentum venosum or the fissure for ligamentum venosum, and this is the impression for the esophagus. Now the bare area of the liver, here the apex of the bare area of the liver is basically it is formed by the right triangular ligament, and the base, here you can see the base which is formed by the groove for the inferior vena cava. The superior and inferior part or the borders of the bare area which is formed by the superior and inferior layer of the coronary ligament. Next is the groove for the inferior vena cava. The groove for the inferior vena cava, it is a non-peritoneal groove, and the floor of the groove for the inferior vena cava, it is pierced by the hepatic veins. Here you can see the caudate lobe. And next is, this is the fissure for the ligamentum venosum. The fissure for the ligamentum venosum, it is a vertical cleft, and anterior wall of it is related to the peritoneum of greater sac, and the posterior wall to the caudate lobe, and floor of this is related to the lesser omentum. Now the ligamentum venosum, it is a remnant of the ductus venosum in the fetal life. Next is a groove for the esophagus. Now this is an impression for the esophagus where it is covered with the peritoneum, and it is related to the abdominal part of the esophagus. Now this is about the posterior surface of the liver. Now coming to the inferior surface of the liver, so here you can see the inferior surface or the visceral surface of the liver. Now in the visceral surface you can see here, this is the gastric impression. The gastric impression, and this is the tuber omentale between the gastric impression as well as the ligamentum teres. Now the gastric impression, which is related to the fundus and body of the stomach. Next coming to the fissure for ligamentum teres. Now this is a fissure for the ligamentum teres, and this is the quadrate lobe. The quadrate lobe, and here you can see the fossa for the gallbladder, and this is the duodenal impression, and here you can see the colic impression, and this is the renal impression. Now the gastric impression, which is related to, as I said, the fundus and the body of the stomach. Now the tuber omentale. The tuber omentale is elevation in the lower part of the gastric impression, where it is between the gastric impression as well as the ligamentum teres. The quadrate lobe, before that there is a fissure for the ligamentum teres. Now this ligamentum teres is nothing but it is a remnant of obliterated left umbilical vein, and it is lined by the peritoneum. The quadrate lobe, here you can see this is a quadrate lobe. The quadrate lobe is right side, it is related to the fissure for the right side it is related to the fissure for the gallbladder, and left side it is related to the ligamentum teres. Above it is related to the porta hepatis, and below it is the inferior border of the liver. So this is a boundary of the quadrate lobe. The quadrate lobe is related to the pyloric part of the stomach, as well the first part of the duodenum and the lesser omentum and the transverse colon. Now what you see here is the porta hepatis. The porta hepatis is the transverse non-peritoneal fissure which acts as the gateway for the liver. Now few of the structure which leave the porta hepatis and few of the structure which enters the porta hepatis. Now this extends from the, you can see here, this is the neck of the gallbladder, from the neck of the gallbladder to the fissure for ligamentum venosum, fissure for ligamentum venosum. So that is the extension of the porta hepatis. The lips of the porta hepatis, which is related to the anterior and the posterior layer of the lesser omentum. Now before backward, the porta hepatis, what are the different structures which are related to the porta hepatis? That is right and the left hepatic duct, the right and the left hepatic artery, and the right and the left branch of the portal vein. The structure which are entering the porta hepatis, the structure which are entering the porta hepatis are the branches of the right and the left branches of the hepatic artery, the right and the left branch of the portal vein, as well the hepatic plexus of the nerves. Whereas the structure which are leaving the porta hepatis is the right and the left hepatic ducts and the cystic ducts and the lymphatics of the liver. Next is the caudate process. Here you can see the caudate process, that is the tail-like projection just above the porta hepatis. So this is in between the porta hepatis as well as in the inferior vena cava. So this is called as the caudate process. So this is a tail-like projection, and there is also a papillary process which is conical, and it is at the lower end of the caudate lobe, and this is related to the origin of celiac artery. Now coming to the fossa for the gallbladder. Now the fossa for the gallbladder, it is non-peritoneal, and you can see here it extends from the cystic notch to the right end of the porta hepatis. So this is the fossa for the gallbladder, which is related to the body and the neck of the gallbladder. Now there is a duodenal impression where it is related to the superior duodenal flexure, okay, and the colic impression which is related to the right colic flexure. So this is the right colic flexure, and here you can see the renal impression which is related to the right kidney as well as the suprarenal gland. Now whatever I have explained so far is about the visceral as well as the parietal surfaces and the relations of the different surfaces, and I spoke about the borders. Now coming to the lobes of the liver. Now what are the different lobes of the liver? There is an anatomical lobe as well as a physiological lobe. The anatomical lobe, you have a right lobe as well as a left lobe which is divided by the falciform ligament. There is a right lobe and the left lobe which is divided by the falciform ligament, fissure for the ligamentum teres, and you can see there is a 5/6 of right lobe as well as 1/6 of the left lobe, and apart from that you have a caudate lobe and the quadrate lobe, and at the lower border of the liver you have also a Riedel's lobe. Now these are the anatomical lobe of the liver. The physiological lobe of the liver, it is the right lobe as well as the left lobe. It is divided by the cholecystocable line, which is supplied by the right side by the right portal vein and the left side by the left portal vein, as well the right from by the hepatic artery and the left by the left hepatic artery. And also you can see the based on the bile duct, the division of the bile duct, it is divided as a physiologically, it is divided as a right as well as a left lobe. Now coming to the peritoneal recesses of the liver. There are the right and the left suprahepatic recess, the right and the left subhepatic recess, and the right subhepatic, which is also called as the hepatorenal pouch of Morrison, and left subhepatic recess, which is called as the omental bursa. Now there are different ligaments which you can see here. One is the falciform ligament which connects the liver to the diaphragm and the anterior abdominal wall, okay, and the umbilicus to the interlobar notch, and this contains the ligamentum teres, hepatis, and the paraumbilical vein and the accessory portal system of Sappi. Now coming to the coronary ligaments, the coronary ligaments are connects the bare area of the liver, okay, with the diaphragm. So upper layer which is related to the liver to the diaphragm, and lower is which is related to the liver to the right kidney, and the content of this coronary ligament is nothing but there are branches of the right inferior phrenic artery and the portocaval anastomosis and the right kidney, and there are also the right triangular ligament which is related to the right surface of the liver to the diaphragm, and left lobe to the left part of the diaphragm. And the one more ligament which is related is the lesser omentum. There are some true ligaments which are basically it is developed from the embryological development. They are the remnant of obliterated left umbilical vein as well as the obliterated ductus venosum. That's already I told you, like you can see here, ligamentum venosum is nothing but the remnant of the ductus venosus, and ligamentum teres, which is nothing but it is a remnant of the obliterated left umbilical vein. Now if you look at the blood supply of the liver, the 65% to 75% of the liver which is supplied by the portal vein, and 25 to 35% which is supplied by the hepatic artery. Now radicals of the hepatic veins which are draining into the inferior vena cava, and now these hepatic artery which before entering into the liver, this hepatic artery which divides into the right and the left branch, and after that it gives a segmental vessels. then interlobular vessels, and finally the portal canal, and it opens into the sinusoids, and there will be a mixture of the artery and the venous blood. Now coming to the venous drainage of the liver. The venous drainage of the liver, mainly it is draining into the portal vein, hepatic sinusoids, and finally into the inferior vena cava. So the hepatic sinusoids, from here it is draining into the interlobular and sublobular, and finally it drains into the hepatic veins and to the inferior vena cava. The lymphatic drainage of the liver is by the hepatic nodes. There are some superficial as well as the deep lymphatic plexus. So these superficial group of lymph nodes which are draining into the hepatic nodes and the celiac nodes, whereas and also to the paracardiac and supradiaphragmatic nodes, and deep which is draining into the hepatic lymph nodes. Now supply of the liver is by the hepatic nerve plexus, and sympathetic is mainly by the T7 to T9, and parasympathetic is by the vagus.